Hey everyone, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brittany. I'm a health coach and nutritionist, and my channel is all about helping you to create delicious, low FODMAP meals to improve your digestive health. If you're into it, go ahead and subscribe. We put out a new video each week. Okay, so today we are making one of my favorite quick dishes. It's turmeric spiced beef and rice. It doesn't really have I know that's not a great name, but I just kind of made it up. So if you can think of anything better to name it, leave it in the comments below and maybe I'll change it. So today we're just going to be using a pound of ground beef, a few spices, cilantro, green onion, rice, and cherry tomatoes. So let's go ahead and start prepping our ingredients. Okay, so here I have about 20 cherry tomatoes. Since this recipe is made to serve about 4 people, and the low FODMAP serving of cherry tomatoes is 5 per sitting. So that's why we get that random 20 cherry tomato number. I'm just gonna cut these in half. I like to cut my tomatoes lengthwise like this. I just think they look prettier, but if you cut your cherry tomatoes the other way, then that's fine too. So one of the spices we're going to be using today is turmeric, which is one of my all-time favorite spices, like medicinal spices, because it is a super great anti-inflammatory. And I know with people who have digestive issues, they're usually battling inflammation issues. It's also just really tasty. Okay, so I'm just quickly chopping up our cilantro. We have 1 bunch here. And then our green onions, tops only. Okay, so those are 4 green onions, the green tops only. I also have some rice here that I have pre-cooked in my rice cooker. So that is the only thing that doesn't make this a one-pot meal, which sucks, but if you prep your rice ahead of the time or you're using leftover rice, it's totally a one-pot meal. Also, my secret to cooking amazing rice is to use chicken stock. It gives it extra flavor, and I used to think that it didn't really make a big difference, but now when I cook rice with only water, I can totally tell. So as I mentioned before, we're gonna be using turmeric. We have 2 teaspoons right here. We also have a teaspoon of mustard seed powder, a half a teaspoon of coriander seeds, and crushed red pepper flakes. I like to add a little extra heat to this with the red pepper, but you totally don't have to, especially if your stomach's really sensitive at the moment. And I like adding the coriander seeds because it kind of echoes the flavors of the cilantro. Coriander is the seed of the cilantro plant, but you totally don't have to. It does add extra flavor to the dish, but it'll still be really good without it. Okay, so let's go over to the stove and cook this up. Okay, so first we're going to start by toasting our seeds in a dry pan. This just kind of helps to bring out the flavor. Okay, so these have been dry toasting for a couple of minutes, and I can start to smell the coriander. So now we're going to add our meat. Okay, now we're just gonna let this brown. So a lot of people, when they brown their ground beef, they're constantly stirring it, which is something that you don't wanna do. I've flattened mine out in the pan, and now I'm just letting it cook because it's going to help to develop a Maillard reaction and a lot of flavor. Okay, now that our ground beef is browned, this is the point at which I would drain the grease if I wasn't using lean ground beef. But since I am, there's not a whole lot of grease in here, and that's really going to help to lubricate our rice. Okay, now I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of garlic oil. And to this oil, we're going to add our turmeric and our mustard seed powder. When you add your spices to the oil like that, it's called blooming the spices. So you see that amazing color? That's what's going to help to color and flavor our rice when we add it in next. Okay, now I'm going to turn down the heat to low. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of pepper. You always want to add pepper when you're cooking with turmeric because it helps the body to absorb and use the turmeric better. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding our cooked rice. This is 1.5 cups of rice that I've cooked in my rice cooker. Like I mentioned before, you can totally use leftover rice. I love doing that. It makes this dish so quick and easy. But if you are using cold leftover rice, you want to add a splash of water and add a lid on there to let your rice steam and get nice and fluffy. Now we're just going to stir this up. Make sure everything gets all evenly coated. This would probably be easier if I stirred up the rice before I added it. It wasn't like a rice brick, but whatever. Okay, so now that this is all combined, I'm gonna scoot it over to one side. I'm gonna turn the heat back up and I'm going to add our tomatoes. Just gonna add a pinch of salt on there. I would say probably about 1/4 teaspoon. Trying to get better at measuring the salt and pepper for you guys. We just want to heat these tomatoes through. We don't want to cook them too much because they're going to get mushy. We want to help them to retain their shape. Okay, now we're just going to turn the heat back down and mix all this together. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now I'm just going to turn off the heat. And now I'm going to add our cilantro and green onion. So this is about 1.5 cups of cilantro and about 1/2 cup of green onion. I love this dish because it's so beautiful and colorful. All right, and that's it. Okay, now let's just dish this up and have a taste. It's so good. It's got a little bit of tang from the lemon, a little garlicky from the garlic oil. It's got a nice earthy flavor from the turmeric and the other spices. And I love all the fresh herbs in it. Just so good. I love to prep this dish in the beginning of the week and then throw it over like some spinach and make like beef and rice bowls throughout the week. Or you can put it in gluten-free tortillas and make like wraps. This is also great for breakfast if you throw a fried egg on top of it. You can do so much with this dish. And again, I just love the color. It's so beautiful. All right, guys, there you have it. Turmeric spiced beef and rice. Almost a one-pot meal, but not quite. In about, what would you say, 30 minutes? In about 30 minutes. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe. We put out a new video each week. I'm gonna be having a lot of really quick and easy recipes coming for you guys soon. Also, if you make this recipe, don't forget to tag me. I love seeing on Instagram when you guys make my recipes. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching and see you guys next time.